Hello everybody, Enigma coming at you with another video today. Today I wanted to go over a topical game due to the remaster being released this last week. I touched on it last week with the Punching Puppet review, but we're going to talk about the original Lunar's remake. Okay, now this is on the Sony PlayStation. The original one was on the Sega CD, and the reason that they brought this out and it's called Complete is they changed a lot of stuff in the original game. Characters came and left a lot differently in the original game. There was more anime cutscenes in this. There was more voices in this. They improved all the story. There's more characters, as I said, more villains that have faces and names to them, as opposed to just random boss. Oh, it's a big ogre. Go kill it. You know, that kind of thing. It's also really well known because it's a Working Designs game, okay? And I know a lot of people have seen this. There's the logo right there. Working Designs has been really well known for a lot of things, but they never skimp on quality of packaging, okay? This is a foil stamped glossy box. Very, very cool, very interesting. We're going to get into what's in here in just a second, but let's just look at there's the heroes of old from the original game, and on the other side we have Alex, Luna, and Null, and on the back we've got the entire cast there. And this still has an opening too. You open this up and woo, there's more. There's more artwork. There's more cool stuff in there. Still very high quality stuff. Working Designs did not ever skimp on packaging. All their games had really, really nice packaging. Full color instruction manuals, foil stamped. You know, some of them were glossy like this, some of them weren't, but really, really high quality stuff. While in a time where everybody was gaming was becoming more corporatized, right? So instruction manuals would go from color to black and white. They were getting to be thinner. You know, people were more interested in making money than they were about making a good product. Working Designs did not do that. They wanted to make a good product, okay? Now, I know people have seen this box and they're wondering what's all inside of it. I'm going to show you. First of all, we have the cloth map right here. Very high quality. It's lasted me for over 30 years or so. See, right here. 95, I think it came. I don't remember, but anyway, that's really cool. Then we have the instruction manual, okay, also foil stamped, hard leather, very, very cool, leather-bound instruction manual, full color. As you can see here, we have characters Alex and Lunar right there, full color. There's Null, and something else that's in their instruction manual they did with a lot of their games. I want to say all of them, but I'm sure someone will say, oh no, actually Enigma, they didn't do it on this one, and that is they had a translations notes page. Now, Working Designs was one of the first companies I ever was exposed to that actually localized games. It wasn't just this straight translation, right? They realized that certain jokes wouldn't fly over here. They realized that different cultures between Japan and the West completely different. So they would put in here in their instruction manuals what they changed in the game, just so you would actually know. Now, their localizations, for better or for worse, some of them hit on the mark, some of them didn't. But very, very cool instruction manual here. Very, very cool. Then we come to the actual box that's inside the box. This is the jewel case. Some of you might have seen this in the stores. I believe Working Designs released this later by itself without all the hubbubaloo to make it more affordable for people to come into the game. But really cool stuff. So we have the Sword of Althena there. And on the back we got Booty Cheeks. That's actually a very big moment in the game. You'll see that if you play the game, absolutely. Then we have the discs on the inside. We have two discs that the gameplay is on. There's disc 1. And by the way, if you don't know, the PlayStation 1 discs are all black on the back, okay? If anyone is going to tell you that this is a PlayStation game, I have news for you. It's a bootleg, right? But this is actually the soundtrack to the game. There's a soundtrack here, right? I got that. You can play that in a CD player, your car if you have one, or wherever else. And we have disc 2 right here. There's disc 2 again, black back. And then a making of Lunar CD that you, again, black back, you put it in your PlayStation and you could play it. So very, very cool stuff. Of course, on the insides of the box, you've got the cool artwork as well. There's the Magic Emperor and Luna. Very, very cool stuff. Really, really do like this game a lot. I hope folks who like old school JRPGs will give this a go. But I did say there's a couple of interesting stories about this, didn't I? So let's start out with the first one. And it's going to start out with a gentleman by the name of Bernie Stolar. Okay, and Bernie was the guy who was the head of Sony when the PlayStation was released. He was the head of the PlayStation American, Western team, and he didn't like role-playing games, like, at all. He was not happy about Sony putting a lot of money into Final Fantasy VII's release, all that stuff. He was he wanted fighting, he wanted shooting, he wanted action games. He did not see anybody liking the good old-fashioned role-playing game. Well, the higher-ups at Sony got into that, and after a while they got tired of his crap, and they got rid of him. He goes to work for Sega. Sega goes, okay, well, they let him go. He knows what he's doing. Let's bring him over and see if he can do something with the Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn was, now in Japan, it was still kind of neck and neck with Sony, because they're both Japanese companies, and they both had exclusive games and that sort of thing. But over here in the West, it was just PlayStation, 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 PlayStation. So the Saturn was pretty dead at this point. And I'm a Sega. I have a Saturn right over there, and a huge selection of games for it. I love my Sega Saturn, but I'm by no means under any small. They were getting their asses whipped. Is basically what it was. So he goes to work for them, and Working Designs had originally planned on this being released on the Sega Saturn. That's what they wanted to do. I was big into it. The original was on the Sega CD, so Sega Saturn makes sense. They were going to put this on the Sega Saturn. Well, Mr. Stolar decided that he did not like Working Designs. And now I've read this as an interview with Victor Ireland, who was the president of Working Designs. So I'm just kind of paraphrasing here. I don't want to make it sound like I'm quoting anybody verbatim here, but Sega of America had always given booth space in their booth to Working Designs. Working Designs was a very small publisher. They did not have a whole lot of staff. They didn't have a whole lot of money. What they did, so Sega was like, okay, cool, you guys can come in here and show your stuff because we want your games to do well. Stolar decided at that year's E3 that they were going to show this game off on the Sega Saturn, that he didn't want to give them any booth space. So he booted them out. He's like, no booth space for Working Designs, you're gone. Well, the head of, Victor Ireland, the head of Working Designs, he knew a couple people in Japan, and so he decided to make a phone call to Sega of Japan and say, hey, this is what your guys doing to us. You guys have always given us booth space, and now you're telling us we don't have booth space. This is not right. So Sega of Japan overrules Bernie Stolar, and boom, they get booth space back. Well, Stolar still had the last laugh. Instead of giving them any sort of booth space where people could actually see their games, they put them like in the very back of the booth behind a whole bunch of stuff. You actually had to go looking for them to actually find their games back there. And that pissed off Victor Ireland something fierce. So what did he do? He canceled this game for this Saturn. Said it's coming to PlayStation. And that's exactly what happened. So that very, very big story there. And now there's another story about this game. And I know I've got the demo disc around here somewhere. Lunar had a demo disc. When you pre-ordered it, you got a demo disc. And the cool thing about the demo disc was it was through the first dungeon of the game. And you could save your progress and carry that save over to the final game. A lot of demos that we have these days are just, it's a first level, it's this, it's that. You play it and there's no saving anything, you're done, right? Well, they did that with this game, and it was a very, very cool thing. But there was one major problem, and that was there's a specific item in Alex, the main character Alex's inventory. I'm not going to tell you what it is, spoilers, that you have to have at the end of the game. You have to have it. There's just you'll die, you'll lose if you don't have it complete, if you don't use it. Okay. In the demo, you could move that item from Alex's stash to Alex's inventory to the stash for the party, right? Your overstash. So because the item plays no real need in your inventory through the entire game, a lot of people took it out, put it in the stash. Well, when they released the final game, they made that item locked, that wherever it was, you couldn't move it again. So if you took it out of your inventory and gave it to your stash, your item stash, it was stuck in your item stash. You couldn't get it out, and therefore you couldn't beat the game. So you would have to go back and play it over again and make it to where you left that item in Alex's stash. And it, they put out a memo about it. I remember they put out like an email or something in a magazine, but hey, don't move this item, or you're going to regret it. But not everybody knew that. So you had a lot of people who played through the demo and moved that item, and then they get to the end of the game and they realize, oh, I am in trouble, and they were. So anyway, that's going to do it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Lunar is a great game series. I hope you guys will give it a go. I'm not being paid to say this. I really, really do love the series. I have forever. So that's, like I said, I was going to do it today. If you do me a favor and follow me on Twitch and Twitter at Evil Enigma, subscribing here on YouTube also really helps. I'm really pushing to get to 500 YouTube subs by the end of the year. I need a lot of help with that, guys. So sharing, liking, commenting on my stuff really, really helps. Let's see what we can do to get me monetized by the end of the year. That'd be absolutely great. I also have a store over at Fourth Wall. You'll find it down. Link on YouTube is also pinned on my Twitter account. I got shirts and bottles and all that cool stuff there. Go check that out. That's the best way to support the channel right now. I appreciate everyone who's at least gone over there and taken a look, right? And I'm working on other stuff. So that's going to do it for me today, guys. I will see everybody streaming this next week. Hope you guys are doing well, and take care of yourselves, guys. I'll see you soon. Thank you.